Effie, my mother-in-law, told me that if I didn't go on the trip she planned, I wouldn't be considered part of the family anymore because I married her son, Cody. She wanted Cody to agree with her. I stopped Cody from saying anything and agreed to go on the trip to avoid conflict. Effie said marrying someone like me, who she thought was inexperienced, was a hassle. She warned that if I didn't come, she would consider divorcing Cody and would teach me things her way. I was fed up with her rude comments. Little did I know, this trip would be the last one with my in-laws. My name is Liliana, and I'm 32 years old. I own a small app development company, which I really enjoy. My husband, Cody, is 37, and he works at a bank. We both love our jobs and often talk about them for hours. Cody understands and supports my work, and we share household chores. Even though we've been married for 4 years, we don't have children yet because we're focused on our careers. But we both like kids and hope to have some in the future. My family owns an auto parts factory that my dad started, and now my brother runs it. They've been very supportive of my dream to start my own company, even though our businesses are different. I often seek advice from my dad and brother, who are also business owners. They've always been there for me, so my family is a big support in my life. Cody's family owns a small factory, and since he was their only child, they expected him to take over one day. But Cody had different plans. The factory wasn't doing well, and his dad, Andy, was thinking about closing it down. Running a small factory is tough these days. When Cody was young, he often overheard his dad talking to bankers on the phone. He even met a friendly banker during a visit to the factory and started going to the bank with his dad just to see him. That's how he got interested in banking. Cody worked hard to make his dream of becoming a banker come true, and now he works at a big bank. Even though everything might seem okay between Cody and me, our marriage isn't going well. Cody's mom, Effie, doesn't think highly of my job. I can work from home sometimes because my job allows it, but Effie sees it as a pointless job and doesn't understand it at all. I get it. It's hard for our parents' generation to understand jobs like mine. Even though my job isn't physically demanding, it's still tiring. I always adjust my work schedule around Cody's family's plans so I don't bother them. I don't expect them to get it, but it's frustrating when they think working from home is easy just because my schedule is flexible. Effie disapproves of other things about us too. When we got married, we built our own house between our parents' homes. It takes less than 30 minutes to get to either house. We both work and manage our money separately. We like having our own space and privacy, even as a couple. We each contribute a set amount of money for household expenses every month and save the rest for our future. But Effie doesn't like this lifestyle either. She thinks it's wrong for a couple to keep things private. According to her, family members shouldn't have secrets, and she doesn't think we're a real family because of it. Effie seems to have a problem with me, probably because she really likes her son Cody, and I'm just in her way. Whenever we see each other, she makes mean comments about us not having kids yet. It's a sensitive topic for me, and I'd rather not talk about it. Normally, people avoid bringing up things like that, but Effie keeps mentioning it every time we meet. So, to avoid upsetting Cody, I've been staying late at work on purpose to miss seeing her. Effie has done other surprising things too, but one thing she did really upset me. It was on the day of my best friend's wedding. After the wedding, my friend was moving far away, so we wouldn't see each other as much because of our jobs. I was really excited to celebrate her special day. But a week before the wedding, Andy asked me to go to an important business event. I said no. The only thing more important to me than my friend's wedding would be if a parent was really sick. But that night, something unexpected happened. When I got home from work, my in-laws were at our house. As soon as she saw me, Effie got really mad. "Liliana, what's wrong with you? Saying no to Andy's request is rude. You're married to my son, so you should put family first. Your refusal is not okay. You need to think about what's important," she yelled at me. Cody was there too, but he didn't say anything. After finding out that the reception Andy asked me to attend was crucial for the future of the company, I understood the seriousness of the situation. But to me, my best friend's wedding was just as important. I explained to Effie, "I get what you're saying, but my best friend's wedding means a lot to me, and I don't want to miss it. Plus, I don't even work for Andy's company." Even Cody joined in, saying, "Can't you make an exception this time? This is really important for the company's survival. I'm going to, and it's a family effort. We can make it up to you for missing the wedding. It's a family crisis. Can't you help us?" I was shocked to hear Cody say that. He knew how excited I was about the wedding. Then Andy added, I understand Liliana's perspective, but this time we really need your help. The atmosphere made it hard for me to refuse. It wasn't just any reception. In the end, I reluctantly agreed to skip my best friend's wedding. I told my friend the truth and explained why I couldn't come. Thankfully, since I had talked to my best friend about my family situation before, she understood. In fact, she was more worried about me. I'm lucky to have such a caring friend. I felt really bad about missing my friend's wedding. But once I made the decision, I had to focus on making the reception a success. On the day of the event, Cody and I got to the venue early and tried to reach Effie, but she didn't pick up her phone for some reason. I started to worry about what to do, but finally, the in-laws showed up just 10 minutes before the reception was supposed to start. I was surprised to see them looking so messy, with untidy hair and wrinkled clothes. I was shocked and asked Effie, what happened? Why do you look like this? Today's reception is important, isn't it? She awkwardly replied, I overslept, Liliana. Just make sure you behave yourself. I was really tempted to snap back with, I don't need advice from you, but somehow, I managed to keep my cool. I have to give myself credit for staying calm during the reception. Effie, not great at talking politely, made a bunch of rude comments to our guests. She probably thought they were jokes, but their uncomfortable smiles showed they didn't find them funny. As I expected, we didn't get the contract we were hoping for, and the reception was a flop. I couldn't help but think I should have gone to my best friend's wedding instead. I was really angry that I got dragged into such a disaster, messing up my plans and causing problems with the in-laws. What made it worse was that they didn't admit they did anything wrong. They acted like it was the guests' fault for not sealing the deal after such a fancy reception. They said it was a good thing we didn't make a deal with such odd people. I couldn't believe how clueless they were. After that mess, I felt even more uncomfortable around my in-laws and started avoiding them. But there's one thing I can't get out of. Cody's family has this tradition of going on a family trip every year since he was a kid, and they still do it even though we're married now. Since we got married, I've been expected to join these trips, but I always end up doing all the boring stuff, driving, booking hotels, researching places to visit. If I try to say anything about it, I'm shut down with a don't push it. Even when we visit tourist spots, I often end up staying in the hotel room, missing out on places I'd like to see. Honestly, I really don't look forward to these yearly family trips and secretly hope I might get sick and avoid them. But now, it's time for this year's trip, and despite saying they're short on money, my in-laws insist on a fancy trip like always. They put me in charge of finding a hotel. I planned everything carefully to keep Effie happy since she's always grumbling. Since I don't drink, I'm always the one who ends up driving. But I don't mind because it means I don't have to listen to their conversations. But just before the trip, a crisis hit. I got a call saying my mom had collapsed and was in bad shape. With that news, going on the trip, even for a short while, wasn't an option. I panicked, knowing I needed to see my mom right away. Since it was the day before the trip, I decided to cancel and get ready to go to the hospital. Cody offered to come with me to the hospital, but I said no. It felt like he was suggesting my mom might not make it, and I didn't want to hear that. When Cody and I told Effie we couldn't go on the trip, she got really mad. Effie's words hit me like a ton of bricks. You're saying you can't go on the trip I planned? If you don't come, you're no longer family. As my son's wife, it's common sense to prioritize the family trip, right? Right, Cody, she said, expecting Cody to agree. Cody seemed like he wanted to say something, but Effie cut him off, making it clear she didn't want to hear any objections. I was so shocked that I couldn't even respond. Being with my mom in her critical condition was the only thing on my mind. Just as I was trying to figure out what to say, my brother called. He told me that mom's condition was serious but somewhat stable. I wanted to rush to her side, but he explained that due to a contagious disease outbreak, visiting wasn't possible right now. He said we could arrange a short visit later as she gets better. So there was no urgent need for me to go. Hearing this news left me feeling torn about what to do. Seeing my hesitation, my brother asked what was going on. I explained everything about the trip and my dilemma. My brother, a little annoyed, suggested something helpful that I hadn't thought of in the midst of my distress. The trip was going to a place near my parents' house, which my brother assured me would be easy to reach from a hotel if necessary. He was right. Whether I stayed at home or in the hotel, I could quickly get to my family if needed. Taking my brother's advice, I reluctantly told Effie, "Okay, I'll come on the trip." Effie responded, "Well, if you'd said that earlier, I wouldn't have gotten so upset. Marrying someone so inexperienced is tough. Just remember, if you don't come, it's divorce. I might have to teach you a few things." Cody seemed surprised, but we agreed to go, with the condition that I could leave for the hospital if necessary. Effie commented, "It'd be a problem if our driver disappeared suddenly, wouldn't it? Good, you're part of the family now, so our needs come first. Remember your role as my son's wife. This trip is a big deal. It should be your priority." Her smug attitude and obvious excitement annoyed me, but I decided to put up with it to avoid more trouble. On the day of the trip, I was so worried about my mom that I couldn't stop checking my phone. Meanwhile, Effie was already drinking beer in the morning. As I drove, the back seat of my car turned into a party scene, with Cody surprising me by joining in the drinking. Even though it was unexpected, I reminded myself that everyone had rearranged their schedules for this trip. I thought it would be nice if everyone could enjoy themselves since we all made an effort to be here. During the trip, Effie's demands were constant, urgently needing bathroom stops or wanting to stop for more alcohol. I felt like I was being treated as a servant, but I decided to endure it. Then my phone rang. It was my brother, thankfully informing me that Mom had survived. Her condition had stabilized and she had regained consciousness. The diagnosis was a subarachnoid hemorrhage. However, I couldn't fully relax yet. There were worries about potential aftereffects. It was comforting to have my brother keeping me updated as I was feeling anxious. When I shared the news of Mom's recovery with my in-laws, Effie dismissed it, saying, "If she's better, there's no need to bother us with such news. You're making a big deal out of nothing." Andy agreed, saying, "Exactly. Let's not spoil our trip with such grim news. We're here to have fun." I was disgusted that Andy shared Effie's view and didn't want to think of these people as my family. During the trip, they made a lot of noise in the hotel, drinking and partying, which was embarrassing. This incident deepened my distrust of my in-laws. Thankfully, Mom's condition remained stable, and there was no need to rush to the hospital, allowing us to finish the trip and return home. I felt relieved. While I was doing laundry at home, Effie showed up unexpectedly. She asked to use our dryer because they didn't have one. I was annoyed and told her, "There's a laundromat with dryers. I have my own laundry to do, and I'm using it right now, so it's not possible." But she insisted, saying, "You're always so stingy. Once you're done, it's fine. I'll come pick it up tomorrow. Have it ready by then," and tried to leave her laundry in our washroom. Cody stepped in, saying, "Liliana is tired and has work tomorrow. It's not possible for her to help with the laundry. Let's go to a laundromat." Effie got angry, feeling like her son was taking my side. She left in a hurry, leaving the laundry behind and hurling insults as she slammed the door. Looking back, maybe if things had been different that day, the outcome might have changed. Later, Effie returned and said something unexpected. She told me, "During the trip, I noticed something, Liliana. You seem unaware of being married to Cody. We might face similar situations in the future. Since we couldn't talk about it, I've decided that Liliana should make a decision." Then she placed a family contract and divorce papers on the table. I was speechless. What on earth was a family contract? It seemed ridiculous and confirmed my belief that she couldn't have a normal conversation. But Cody surprised me with his response. He said, "I have something to say. If you keep forcing your opinions on us, I'll cut ties. I can't deal with this anymore. What do you think, Liliana? You're not a servant or housekeeper. You're not the one who's mistaken about your position." Effie was stunned. Up until now, Cody rarely spoke up against her. It wasn't because he agreed with her, but because he wanted to avoid conflict. After Cody spoke, Effie's anger turned towards me. "You've changed Cody since you married him. He used to be so sweet. It's crazy for him to talk to me like that." "You must have brainwashed him, turned him back into the old Cody," she accused, confronting me. She believed I had manipulated Cody into defying her. Then, Cody defended me even more. "You're the one doing the brainwashing here. You always fly off the handle without listening to anyone's opinions. Honestly, you're a toxic parent. You never let me live my own life after I got married. Instead of calming down, you're attacking Liliana. Enough is enough. I'm not going to divorce, and if you have a problem, you should stay out of our lives," he firmly stated. Effie turned to Andy, who was there, and burst into tears. Andy responded, "If that's what Cody thinks, then so be it. We'll cut ties. Do as you wish," and left in a huff. I was surprised but relieved that Cody stood up for us like that. Feeling frustrated, I confided in my brother about everything. He became furious and said he couldn't stay silent if they were behaving this way. He decided to take action, which ultimately led to a tragedy in the in-laws' family. It turned out that my brother's company was a client of my in-laws' company. We had kept our family's company name a secret to avoid creating a power imbalance. The in-laws had no idea they were dealing with my family's company, but with things as they were, we couldn't continue like this. Although I had been patient and avoided mixing business and personal matters, it had reached its limit. My brother had been having issues with them not meeting deadlines. You can't cherish those who don't cherish you. I discussed it with Cody before talking to the in-laws, and he agreed. Cody also said he had had enough. My brother decided to end the contract with my in-laws' company purely as a business decision. Their company had become problematic, consistently failing to pay on time and missing deadlines. Despite these issues, we had tolerated it because of the family connection, but now there was no reason to continue. When my in-laws learned about this, they came to us in tears, constantly apologizing. They begged my brother to reconsider the contract, but it was out of the question. Their failure to meet deadlines was their own responsibility, and they should have appreciated our patience. Cody explained everything to his parents, but they refused to accept it and ultimately cut ties in anger. Cody wasn't upset. He felt relieved. He had been torn and exhausted, caught between us and his family. Since then, we've been living peacefully. I discovered that Cody had been financially supporting his family, but he stopped doing that now. Even before this incident, their family factory was struggling and was close to shutting down due to debts. I also found out that Cody had been paying for those yearly trips for his family. It's surprising how they could act that way, using someone else's money. Now, Cody's parents are living more modestly, and Effie has started working recently. It's quite unexpected to see her, who used to consider herself a president's wife, now working. One day, I witnessed Effie being reprimanded while doing a cleaning job. Although I initially felt it might be karma, I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Perhaps through this experience, she'll learn about the realities of life and hopefully change for the better. As for us, work is going smoothly. We haven't had children yet, but we're content with our jobs and life feels fulfilling. We're planning a trip abroad for our next vacation. For now, we're enjoying life without the added responsibility of children.